Welcome back, where you get crypto education. You learn how to actually read the market and understand it. We are, or at least I am, a little bit bearish today. We're going to go into why I'm bearish short term, meaning in the next day or so. I'm going to be giving constant updates, be doing my streams where I start off the video and my bearish, bullish, what's happening. So today, short term, I'm bearish, okay? Long term, we're still in that bearish downtrend, which we'll get into. Why was I bearish short term? Well, last night, right, we're looking in the charts right now. Let me get my mouse over here. On the 4-hour chart, right, all I have right now in this chart's support and resistance lines. And I also, guys, have in this next support and resistance indicator, completely free. But why was I bearish last night? Okay, well, we see that we could not break. Let me go on the 1 hour real quick. We see that we could not break out of this resistance right here. Okay, we had a resistance level that was right smack dab at 36,400. And if you look at the candle sizes that we saw here, let's get the mouse out. Let's circle these. We had a push in volume, right? And then we had this consolidation right here. All right. Every time in the past, every time we've had consolidation at this level, we've had a large push. RSI was high. Okay, we had RSI that was high. We'll throw an RSI indicator. To show you guys how you guys can trade this as well. Let's turn off these other ones. Boom, boom. Oops. All right. All right. So we see that RSI was extremely high when we were at these levels right here. So this is at the 36K level. I'm going to show you guys how you could have found out that we could have a large bearish push to the downside. If you were in the Discord, you would have known. We talked about this in the Discord. We streamed when we were at these moments, talking about how it was bearish. We saw that there was this pause, this consolidation in the markets, right? We needed to see that push above it, right? Every time we've been at this 36K level, we've had volatile movements, right? To the upside, to the downside. To the upside, right? Or to the downside there, to the upside. We did not have any sort of consolidation that looked like this happen. So this means that this level right here has a lot of pressure, right? We'll see it have volatile movements at these certain points. And what that basically means is if we do not break out, we consolidate at this point. We have extremely high RSI because we had this push up, which made RSI really high. Momentum was dying out up here. We're probably going to have a push to the downside. And this was why we couldn't break out of those zones and we pushed to the downside off of that, right? Happened again here. We couldn't fully break out of it. We pushed down, we consolidated, right? We pushed down. We need to see a volatile spike above that zone to really break out of it. And this is just using simple support and resistance. We're going to get into the long term as well. Right? As you guys can see here, look at this resistance line that we see. We see one here, one here, one here. Large resistance line that showed up many times before is exactly where we ended up not being able to break out of, which showed that once we did break through this resistance that was down here through the supports, that we were probably going to have some breakdown to the downside because we did not have enough momentum to break out to the upside, and we had our large push and we could not break through it. And currently right now, we are sitting at this little support right here. Okay, let's go on the 15-minute, right? We have this support level right here around 33,800. And this is a key support level. Why? Because we have volatile movement if we break down from it, right? We have a huge push in price on the way up. We will see some of this, some of these candles exactly right here. If we do break down to this area, they're probably going to break through this level and come down here to this 33,500 level if we break this one, okay? So why did I enter a trade when we saw this consolidation at the top, right? I entered my trade for 3 reasons, right? There's 3 reasons why you should be entering a trade. You have your stop loss, your entry, and your take profit. Why was I trading this though? Okay, well, I put in my entry at this order once we broke down through this support line and we had the retest up, right? Because normally what happens is we'll retest up onto this support or this resistance, and then we'll break back down from it. And I looked at the longer time frames first for confirmation. went to the 4 hour, went to the 2 hour, went to the 1 hour, and said, we have a lot of resistance at this current level. And knowing that this momentum wasn't strong enough with the RSI to break us through, and seeing this consolidation, right? This consolidation that we see right here, it's a clear indicator that we are going to break down onto this level because we couldn't break through it. And this is what the charts were showing. So this happened at 1 in the morning last night. If you're in the Discord and you're awake, had a lot of fun, right? But we have to understand that this is how you guys can chart. You can go look at these key support and these resistance levels and look how price reacts at these levels. So we see this support right here, the support resistance. What do we see? Big move to the upside. What happens when we break through it? Big move to the downside. There's price action at these levels right here, okay? This is something that you guys need to take into consideration when you're trading. Is if you're trading in the middle of these zones, it's not smart. You want to be trading at these points in the graph where you have the ability to see volatility, because that means that you can have a very good indicator on how much percent you would be able to make, or you'd be able to make more percent if you traded off of these key support and these resistance levels, right? You could use your RSI to see how high we are at that time, knowing that we're probably going to break down whatever it might be, but you do not want to be trading unless we see these key moments of volatility. We break through this resistance right here, right? So we have supports, we break through it, boom, right? That's when you put in your trade. When we break out of these key levels, right? Right down here, we had some supports, right? We tested, we broke out, probably put in a trade down there. You're just trading based off of these key support and resistance levels where you see price go up a lot and go down a lot during these levels. You could base the momentum based off of RSI. We have low momentum, right? And we want to break out of a support level or a resistance level. We're probably going to break out of it if it's a key level that we see this price action happen in the past. So that's just a little lesson that we're going to go over right there. And that's why I entered that trade when I did. And that's what we're going to start off every video. Why? What's the sentiment in the market? What is it, bullish, bearish, right? I'm a neutral type of guy. I'm not bearish. I'm not bullish. I'm not neutral, guys. I'm just looking at the charts, right? And why am I bearish after we've had this push down? Okay, let's go through that really quickly. All right, so we see that when we have this candle right here, it's a large candle with volatile price movement to the upside. If we break through this resistance right here, most likely we're going to come down all the way to the support level, right? We have a key support level down here, right? We'll come down to this support level, right? If we break through this support level, right? So let's go to, now I'm saying right a lot, but if we break through this support level, this resistance level, we do have this support down here. I'll change it to a support, right? It's green. But if we do break through that, guys, we are looking like we can really go back down to these lower prices. Same thing for the upside. But what do we see on the upside, right? We see that we do not have too much, or we don't have the unfrequency of levels, or we do have a lot less levels to push through on the downside than on the upside, which this means that to break out, right, we have to break through 1, 2, 3, 4 resistance levels. And on the downside, we just have to break through a few to get down to those lower prices. But normally when we have this low RSI, right, normally they bring it back up, but you need to wait for these key moments in these confirmations at these levels where we see price extremely volatile. Because when you know that price is extremely volatile at these places, you're not just trading in the middle of a range. You have an idea. You see that RSI is high, right? You see that we couldn't break through this resistance level, which this was like on what, the 15-minute, right? We see we couldn't break through this resistance level, and then we saw we broke through this support level, retested, and then we saw the breakdown incur after that, right? We broke through the support as well. Look at, we broke through the support. What did we do? We retested, boom, and then we broke down off of it. Yep. Look at, we have a resistance right here. What happens? We break down off this resistance, boom, we retest, order in, boom, to the downside after that, because we still had that bearish momentum. RSI was high up here. That's just something to really take into consideration. But on the long-term trend, we're still looking bearish on the long term. I wish I could tell you we were bullish on the long-term trend, but we still haven't reached these current levels on where we're going to see price explode. And we're going to go through some data that's going to help back up my story on why we are bearish, okay? Why we're in a bearish type of market. It's great, guys. You guys have to understand that no matter where price is at, that you can be profitable and that you could learn and be successful. All you have to do is put the time and the effort in, and you can do it. So that's my little technical analysis in the beginning section. Went a little bit longer than anticipated. All right, so here's the total fees in USD that Bitcoin miners have paid. You guys see how this is going down quite a lot, right? We see hash rate going down. It's kind of an indication that, you know, price of Bitcoin has gone down. Hash rate has also gone down. Not the best thing to be seen. This is at a very, very low price. When we get to low prices on this, it's going to take at least a few months or probably 3 to 4 months to recover from these low prices. Who knows how long it's going to take for these miners to get the hash rate back up and running at normal prices. It's not going to take a few weeks. It's going to take a few months at least, which is not the best indicator. So here's the inflow address count. Okay, the number of BTC addresses making inflow transactions to all exchange wallets. Look how high we were, guys. We hit all-time highs up here, and we are currently at a bottom level over the past years, right? Over the past 2 years, we are at this bottom level, showing that we do not have too much activity happening on the blockchain. For example, this is the BTC active address count. The total number of unique active addresses, inclusive of senders and receivers. So if you guys look here, what happened after we had this crash in 2018? They ended up dropping, right? We saw the drop in price, and we saw that we had a rise in the bull market. And then what happened right now? We saw a drop in price, right? Did this take a while for it to recover? Yeah, it took over a couple months for it to really start to recover. It took around 3, 4, 5 months for this to really go into fruition after we had this significant drop. And we just now had this significant drop in these BTC active account addresses. This is just on-chain data that's just supporting that we've kind of lost a little bit of the momentum to the upside. Once we do break trend, I'll be extremely bullish long-term, okay? I will be. I'm just looking at the data and I'm putting one and one together to get a conclusion that, you know, we're in some sort of market where it's a little bit dying off, right? It's a little dying off markets. In the data, on the on-chain data, in the charts a little bit. You know, I have nothing against people who are bullish. It's your opinion. I'm just going through data and I'm just sharing a conclusion or just the side that I see that's going to most benefit you, right? Most benefit yourself. Yes, we're going to have pumps to the upside. This always happens, but you have to make sure to understand, you know, the long-term trend of things. If we break out of that long-term trend, we're going to be bullish, right? But we're still not seeing that trend gets broken through. Here's the long liquidations chart. We're on the 1 hour. We haven't seen, you know, long liquidations really get pummeled. We've seen a lot of them actually gets put into orders. There's a lot of longs that are in the market currently, and still, if we look at the 1 hour, you guys can see longs really haven't been liquidated too much. You go to shorts. Look how much shorts get liquidated. Right? Imagine if we saw this with the longs, which could happen if we are in some sort of bearish market. Doesn't have data past then, but the long liquidations right now, they haven't been liquidated in quite a while, guys. They have not been liquidated in quite a while. If we do see a liquidation here in the next, let's say, you know, week or so, which is most likely to happen, we always have one within a week or so, we're going to see something pretty steep prices come into fruition. So make sure to understand that. I mean, I wish I was bullish. I wish the prices were going up more than I would think, but I'm just being completely open, completely honest, showing you data, being completely neutral in a sense, but just showing you that we are in a market that is in a downtrend, right? We are in a downtrend. So just another important thing. Can you explain what each time frame tells you? Benefit to the 15-minute, the 1 hour, etc. All right, so the 1 hour shows you around 4x time frame what the 15-minute does in a longer time frame, right? I would suggest using time frames that are divisible by 5, okay? So you could use the 5-minute, right? You could see what it is looking like on the 5 minutes, but I would really suggest starting out with the 4 hour, right? You build some sort of consensus on what is happening with the 4 hour. So we see we have this resistance right here, right, that we couldn't break out of. We have this support down here. If we break through the support, we have this other support down here, right? We broke through this resistance right here. The next resistance was right here. and we had another resistance line that was right at 39, and then we had another resistance line that was at this 41 level. So this is how you should be using the longer time frames to just kind of calculate where the supports and the resistances on the longer picture, because this is extremely important. Because what do you see happen at these levels? We break down, boom, big price break off this level. What happens when we break through it? Boom, big upside, right? Happens again and again and again and again. These are the points where we see the most price volatility, which is where you guys want to be trading. You do not want to be trading in these random zones that are not away from it, especially if you're new. This is one of the main things that you need to understand to somewhat form a successful strategy together. Using this, it could really change change your mindset on how you trade or how you look at the charts. Just look for a strategy, right? Support and resistance, pivotal points in the market where we see large volume take place, right? If we see a push, a break out of that support or that resistance, we are low on RSI, we're high on RSI, whatever it might be, you have some sort of indicator on where they're going to shift price long term, right? We broke through this support, boom, downside. We broke back through it, upside. It's just how these supports and these resistances work. And I would say anything that's divisible by 15 minutes or 5 minutes for your charts. Is there any point to enter a short position now, or is it small pumps likely to happen? Yes, I would say it's not likely to enter a short now because we're in the middle of this trend, right? Why would you trade in the middle of this trend? Okay, a lot of you guys that could have bought yesterday thinking we were going to an extremely high level, you guys didn't buy at the current heights, right? You are still trading inside a micro trend, right? Where the macro trend is a lot bigger than expected. You could look at the 4 hour, the 2 hour. If you're new to trading, you don't have time to put your stop losses and you don't have time to watch the charts. Just trade the macro trend, okay? Which is the 4 hour, the 2 hour, nothing really, maybe the 1 hour, right? But if you're not going to have the time to sit there and see if we change trend, we change momentum, then it's not worth it, right? It's not worth it. There's so much volatility in crypto that it's extremely easy to be successful, right? If you're just following the simple supports and the resistances, the pivotal points where we see volatility, looking at the longer time frames, it is not too, it's not extremely hard. It's just understanding that. If you guys have the time, you have the effort, you can do it. We'll be going over this more. What is your support and resistance indicator that I'm using? It's this one, next resistance and support. Yeah, I would not the time to enter a trade right now. I'd really suggest not doing that. But 12 minutes left, guys. My streams will be better. I will have a structured block set out. But now we're going to be getting into Ethereum. I'm going to show you guys something about altcoins. All right, so let's go into Ethereum. Let me move my mouse so my computer turns back on so I have lighting. So we're looking at Ethereum right now. What should I be looking at these altcoins at? Okay, so we're looking at Bitcoin. We see Bitcoin is going to push through a support level, right? We have our resistance level, we have our supports, but when Bitcoin pushes through that level, right, you have to look at these other altcoins if you want to be buying them, right? You need to be looking at what are these altcoins doing in correlation to Bitcoin, right? What are their charts? What's the market structure? What's market structure, right? We have our support lines, we have our resistance lines, and then we have our trend lines as well, right? Here's our trend line, boom, trend line, right? We break through this trend line, we break through this resistance right here. What happens? We have a volatile movement, right, upwards. We have this resistance right here. What happens when we break through it, right? We have enough momentum, boom, we break through it. Here's our other resistance line. What happens? Boom, we broke through it, but oh, we had a resistance right there, right? You guys see this resistance? This is how the markets work. And with Ethereum, the reason why I don't trade Ethereum too often is because I like to trade coins that their charts are looking like this. Let's go to KSM, for example. Now we'll go to ETC. ETC is a great example as well. All right. So I'm not suggesting do this until you understand fundamentals of the market, right? Until you actually understand the fundamentals of how Bitcoin works, then you can go get into ETC or you can get into these altcoins until you gain a successful strategy with trading Bitcoin and understanding how it works. Just basic market structure, right? Support, resistance, trend lines, how to use RSI with that. What are the points where we see high volatility? This is all simple things that I know all of you can understand. Don't put your money into it unless you're successful while you've been practicing with fake money, or else it's not worth it. It will click. I promise it will click at some point. All right, so we're on the 1 hour with ETC. And Bitcoin, right? If you guys look at this 1 hour chart, look at what we see right here, okay? Why would I be trading ETC over these other altcoins? Look at this resistance, okay? Look at this resistance that we see currently at this level. What's different about this, okay? We see that this resistance that's up here is an extreme amount of distance between those two, right? ETC took a large dip, a very, very quick dip, a lot of volatility to the downside. So what does that mean? A lot of volatility to the upside. And we saw the volume, right? Coins aren't going to do that if they don't have the volume to support it. ETC had the volume to support it. They had almost their entire market cap in volume. So you knew that ETC had the chance to break out because of that volume. And we saw ETC break above this resistance. What happened, right? We hit this other resistance level. Where was the next one? Wow, the next one's all the way up here. That's another 8% from ETC. Where's the next one at if we break through this? Wow, it's all the way up there, right? So we hit these resistance levels, break down off of them. That's 30% you could have made off ETC by just understanding this market structure, right? Yes, you might not fully get all 30%. That's just it's just me saying that, but it's just a understanding of how when we break out of resistance, right, we have large upside potential to the next support or resistance line. And it's very important to know that this all relates to Bitcoin, right? But yeah, like we said, Bitcoin is in a downtrend, right? Bitcoin's in downtrends. There's no denying that. I never said it was an uptrend because it really wasn't. We had a push from these lower levels to the upside. We couldn't break out of this 36 area. We couldn't break out to the 37K area, which is what we saw that could have happened. We did have our upper levels up here. I figure we're not going to use the upper levels or the lower levels. We're just going to follow basic market structure, and I will post exactly why am I entering these trades? How am I being successful entering these trades? And what should you be looking for? Because you guys are coming to YouTube to, one, know what's happening in the market. Is it bearish? Is it bullish? Number two, you guys are trying to figure out, how can I make more money? How can I become better at investing? Yep. And somewhat of the news. I'll probably go over some important news articles and some on-chain data, get you guys more educated on that standpoint. Very simple what we're going to be having going here. If you guys want to help me out, Discord's going to help me out with these videos. Really appreciate if you guys could join and pitch in. Going to be the best YouTube content that you can create on YouTube for crypto. Discord links in the description. All right. Yeah. Well, with Bitcoin right now, like I said, 4-hour trend. What's the 4-hour trend showing? Okay. We have this consolidation, right? This is consolidation right here. We seem to push through it very, very fast. Okay. This is consolidation. I'm not looking at who's trading right now. I'm not looking at whatever. I'm just looking at what is market structure, right? We have a consolidation period right here. It just slows down. It can't break out, can't break down. It's in between this range. Why would Bitcoin break down if we broke through this on the bottom side? Well, that's because we have this volatile movement where there's no support or resistance all the way down here to the 33,400 level. And it's going to be hard for us to break out of this because look at all the resistances that we have in this area right here. We would need a lot of momentum to break out through this. Doesn't mean it's not possible, right? But it means that, you know, this wouldn't be the best trade to get into on the upside because there's a lot of resistance up here. And it's important to understand what consolidation is, what you need to be looking for when you trade. And again, you're trading in the end of a downtrend, right? This is a downtrend. Who knows how low it will go? But when we do have downtrends, right? When we do have downtrends, we do have some sort of uptrend in between them, right? We do have some uptrends in between them. But for the most part, they all happen once we break through that support level at these key fundamental levels, right? And that's what you need to be trading off of, this volatility. We'll go on the 2 hour, right? Go check what's happening on the 2 hour. Right? This is a key fundamental level right here, guys. This is a pivotal point, large candlesticks to the downside. At this level, we broke through this support right here. And now we're looking to head our way down to at least touch this support. Let's put it in the little indicator, little trend line, boom. Right, this is what we see, this 33,955 level, because this is where these candlesticks touch. But look at the consolidation, right? Am a little bit bearish, think that we could have enough momentum, but we probably need to see some consolidation. I do think that what will happen is we'll make some sort of, head and shoulders pattern, inverse, or just, right? What is that? Okay, we just go boom, and then we will drop at some point, kind of recover this candle, and that could be it, right? But why would we do that? Because we're following the supports and the resistances on this side of the graph, right? We follow those. It's just how the market structure actually works. This just doesn't randomly happen. It's not mysterious. This is how order books are. This is where people are placing orders. But yeah, so we also have this other support down here. Look at, we have consolidation down here, right? We have consolidation down here. So probably going to be using this as a support level if we break down through this. You guys see all the support levels that we see over here from this one movement too. This was using these levels, right? And if this breaks down, we'll most likely go around this area at this 33.13. If we break out, what do we have to break out of? This will be the last thing we cover. Then we'll go through some questions. No, it's a lot of information I'm throwing at you. We'll have it more structured here in a second. But we need to break above this resistance level right here, which is the 34,600, right? This is our resistance. This is on the 2 hour. But yeah, this is where Bitcoin is in right now. Right, we couldn't break out of this area. It sucks. I wish it could have gone to 45K too, but we got to understand that we're still in a downtrend. RSI was very, very high, and we had the momentum, and then it just died out at the top, which signified the death of this trend that we saw here. As you guys saw, we went back in the past. We showed how volatile this spot needs to be to break out. Right, it was not volatile enough to break out. All right, so yeah, I think we can go through a few questions, and I think we'll wrap it up after here. So we went through ETC, we went through Ethereum, we went through Bitcoin. I'm going to add 2 other altcoins in the next stream I do to go over, and we'll just actively look at the charts, talk about market structure, and understand what they're doing, just with basic support, resistance, trend line, RSI, and you guys will be able to understand how the market works just by simply watching these videos. And we'll go into some George news. We'll probably, cover the George news, on-chain data, right? Guys, this is showing something so significant, right? This is showing something extremely significant, this data is, right? We're at bear market prices on data. Bear market prices. What happens if we get bear market prices on data? We normally have a slow moving market the months that follow. It takes a little bit for people to get back interested into crypto, but it's just the graphs that I'm showing you guys. I'm not telling you we're in a bear market. I'm just saying what happens when this graph gets to X level, somewhat comparing it. All right. The Discord link's in the description. $1 end of the year. Nope, not going to happen. It's support. It's next support and resistance is the indicator name. All right, so ETC just broke the 200 EMA. Is that a good time to enter shorts? Wait for the retest and make sure you're looking at Bitcoin, right? Look how Bitcoin is in this consolidation area right here. Why would ETC go up in price, right? Why would ETC go up in price, right? We broke through this support level, 200 MA. We'll get into that in a second, guys. It's the 200 moving average for those of you that are not familiar. But let's just look at from a market structure perspective, right? So we broke through a support level, right, on Bitcoin. But want to know what we did not do? We didn't break through a support level on Bitcoin. I mean, we didn't break a support level on ETC, or we broke a support level on ETC. We didn't break one on Bitcoin. So don't expect that to get into a trade, okay? You want to have things line up with Bitcoin, see the movement for Bitcoin, and then trade your altcoin, right? That's why it's important to master Bitcoin, because the price of ETC is all dependent on what Bitcoin is doing. If Bitcoin goes down, ETC goes down. If Bitcoin goes up, ETC goes up. If you're just trading altcoins, you're not going to be successful, because you need to know what Bitcoin looks like, or else you're just rolling dice for the most part. But yes, that's going to be the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe button, and stay tuned to the future streams. Will be a lot of fun, and I appreciate all the help that you guys have been giving me on these streams. Going to be improving every single day. Have a great one.